Another round, sir.
Don't mind if I do.
We are hanging, sir.
I do that.
Have we ceased life, sir? Oh, thank goodness. I can't stand these dreadful people.
If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you want to be the best mortarman you can possibly be. And if that's the case, you're in the right spot. Whether you're trying to learn this before the update comes out, or the update's already come out and now you need to learn this, or you just want to blow the ever-living shit out of people, the reasoning doesn't matter to me. I'm just here to teach you how to do it. So what the hell are we waiting for? Let's just get into the training. Now, assuming that you already have your mortar pit up and ready to go, the very first thing you need to do is know exactly where you are on the map. And just to save time, I've already figured out exactly where I am on the map, but some of you might not know exactly to a T where you are on the map. And if that is the case, you do need to figure this out. If you don't know how to figure this out, well, then you probably need to go watch my land nav video, and I'm just saying it will help you out. You'll be able to figure out exactly where you are. So if you need to, go watch that video real quick and then come right back. And right now I'm just putting a mark down on the map to reference where I'm at. Okay, so now that we know where we are on the map, now let's go mark where we want to hit. And it's also very important that you do mark these with some sort of symbol. And for this first lesson, let's pick somewhere kind of close. The military site looks pretty good, so we'll go ahead and we'll put a mark on this. We marked ours as us, so we'll mark this one as them. Okay, so now we have our location and the area or spot that we want to hit the enemy. There are two tools that you're going to be using all the time in here, and that's going to be your protractor and your pencil. And right now, we need the pencil. Now, it's going to be a little different than land nav, but I want you to take the pencil, scroll down to where you're at, and I want you to click it there. I want you to start your line right here. Now, all you have to do is drag it down and past where you want to hit. So make sure that line is actually going through the spot that you want to hit. But do not make this line too short or you will not be able to read your mills. Just make it nice and long and make sure it goes through the center of where you want to hit. Once you got your line set and exactly where you want it, go ahead and grab that protractor. Now take where you're at and put it dead center of this protractor. You want this as close as possible. It is very important because it will throw your mills off if you don't. And I know you can't get it like 100%, but we do want it as close as possible. Once we got that all lined up, I want you guys to come down here to where your line goes through and look at the outside numbers. The outside numbers, not the inside. You can use the inside, but no, we're going to use the outside because it's more accurate. These are your mills. And it's because we can get 4 different numbers with this. So if we started at 30 here, it wouldn't be 31, 32, 33, obviously. It only goes up to 32. These small ones go by 2s. 302, 304, 306, 308. And then maybe it'd be like 3081. Now we're going to take our mortar and line it up to 3081. This is going to be the numbers on the very top. If you notice up there where it says mills, we want that at 3081. Right there. So now that we got that set and we're facing in the right direction, now all we have to do is figure out whether to go up or down with the motor system. And this is going to be the numbers on the left-hand side over here. To get those numbers, we need to figure out how far the mortar round is actually going to travel. So we got the direction, now we need the distance. And to get your distance, you need to take your protractor and turn it. So I'm not sure what button that's going to be for you guys, you console players, but for PC, you just click in on the mouse wheel, the scroll wheel, and just kind of sway it side to side. And we're going to be using the little ruler on the inside. It looks like a little mini ruler, but we want the 0 to start at our position. So however you need to turn that whenever you're using it, start with 0 at your point. And when you're trying to get distance, it does matter on how lined up this is. So you want that really lined up. You don't want it turned sideways and running your line through. You want that line running right alongside your little ruler part. And once you got this all lined up, all you have to do is go down, look at where it matches on here. Ours is right on the 5, so I'd say that's 500 meters. Probably closer to 510 meters. Now, if you haven't already, I want you to come over to this box and grab one of the mortar manuals out of here, and then just go ahead and throw it in your quick inventory. And you're going to need this to set your distance. Once you have this chart out, the one thing we're going to want to be looking for is the range. Now, I know that we said 510 meters, right? So you look over on the left-hand side where it says range, and we need 510, which is pretty low up here. I don't think we're gonna need the 4 rings. And we'll get more into rings in a second, but the more rings, the farther it flies. And if you have too many rings on there, then you can't get the low ranges. That's why it stops at 300 over there. So for now, we'll just keep it at 1 ring. That gives us our low ranges, and then we can go from there. Okay, now all we want to do is look at our range, which if we remember right, it was like 500 or like 510. Now look at your elevation, go down, go over from 500, and look at that, 1317. And you can make a few small adjustments on that since we were 510, but really we just want 1317. Get back on your mortar, aim down sight, and now the left-hand numbers, that's what we want. We want to move that to 1317. And I'd also make sure that over here where it shows your rounds on the right-hand side, that's got the right rings and right rounds in it. It'll kind of give you a little indicator on how far the round's going to go all by itself. I'll show you what I mean when we get to 1317. And it's right there. Okay, now see over there? See where it says 500 meters, 1317? That's what I was talking about. And that's with 1 ring. Now go fill your backpack, your hands, whatever you can with mortar rounds. I, on the other hand, obviously just leave them laying on the ground. Now stop, you're still not ready. You still haven't changed the rings on your mortar yet. So what you need to do is take a look at this mortar, and I want you to go ahead and remove 3 of the 4 rings so that way it only has 1, which if you remember is what we ranged it for. 1 HE mortar round with 1 ring. Now you do not have to do this for all the mortar rounds. Once you do it for 1, it will change all the rest of them to 1 ring. With that said, I'm pretty sure we're facing the right direction, got the right height, and got the right ring. So let's send one as a test and see how we do. Oh, we were pretty close. Look at that. We hit right there. And our mark was literally just off to the left-hand side. The mortar seemed to have like a radius of like 50 meters that they land in. So if that was me, I'd call it good. And I'd just fire for effect. So we'll just send a few more down the tube here and see where they land. And look at that. Pretty much hitting right where we wanted. I mean, it's gonna, like I said, it's going to fire in a circled area right around there. But for the most part, we hit our target. Okay, on to the final part of training. Close targets are a lot easier than far away targets. But what if you wanted to hit something super far away? You know, like maybe over here in this village. Well, you're mostly going to repeat the same process we did before, except now we're going to add elevation. So take your pencil, put it where you're at, and draw a line all the way through where you want to hit. Line that protractor back up on you again, then check your outside numbers for the mills. 162, 164, 166, 168, 16... This is like 1699. 1699 is about what I'd say. Go back to your mortar system and get that top number at 1699. And it's like right in here. We're going to get our distance using the little ruler part of our protractor. And on long distance shots like this, you're going to really want to dial in the meters to the target. So definitely make sure this thing is straight on that line and starts exactly at 0. Our line is going to obviously exceed the 10 mark, which is 1,000 meters. So what I want you to do is grab your pencil, and I put a little mark here. Because what we're going to end up doing is sliding the ruler to 0 at this point and recounting again just at 1,000. Move the protractor down to that mark we made and get it as lined up as possible. And if we were trying to commit a war crime and hit this church, then it would be about 1,810, because remember we have to add the 1,000 we already had. And to set our range, we have to pull our manual back out. And if you notice when I pulled this out, it doesn't even go up to 1,000 something. And that is because we are still set to 1 ring. So you want to shuffle this through. And it looks like I accidentally went to smoke, so we'll go through. There we go. HE shell, 4 rings. Right there. So that's what you want. Now look at the amount of meters it can travel with the rings attached to it. And we needed 1,810, or like 1,800 at least. And if you look next to that, it says that the elevation for that will be 1,261 mils. So pretty much same thing as we did before, except now we had to add some rings to get our distance. Now that reference chart is good because when I'm setting this, I'm actually going to back it off just a little bit so the round travels a little bit farther, since it was 1,810 meters and not just 1,800. So it's supposed to be 1,261 mils, and we're going to set it at this. That way it travels just the tiniest bit farther. Grab some rounds, and then don't forget, you need 4 rings on this now. We set it to 4 rings, not 1. So once you have that set, we can start sending rounds on target and see where they hit. But wait, before you do, we forgot to cover one important aspect, and I was saving this for the more long distance shot. If you look next to my arrow there, it says 40 meters. And then if we go over here to our target, it says 15 meters. That is your elevation. And elevation definitely makes a difference when it comes to being accurate. Now in our case, there's not too much of a difference in elevation, but there is. It's about 25 meters worth of difference. When this really comes into place is if you were to try and attack a place like this, where it's 120 meters up. That is when it's going to really matter. And I'll explain it like this. If you're here at this elevation, and then the enemy is over here at the same elevation, and you launch a mortar round, it should look something like this. Now, let's say for instance the enemy is at a higher elevation. This is going to cause your rounds to fall short of its target. If your target's at a lower elevation, you can shoot over your target. So does elevation matter? Yes and no. At small increments, no. Large increments, I would say yes. To adjust for elevation, you're going to want to pull your manual back out. If you look up at the top here, you'll see time of flight and then de-elevation per 100 meter drop. So not only will you know how long the round is going to be traveling through the air, but now you can adjust for your elevation per 100 meter drop. We don't have a 100 meter drop. We have about 20 something. And for 100 meters, it says to adjust it 11 mils. So I think with our little small adjustment we made by like a couple mils, we'll do just fine. Okay, whew. So now you're facing the right direction. You got your distance. Your elevation is covered. And you got the right amount of rings on your mortars. Let's send them and see where we hit. Right where we wanted to be. Perfect. And if you want to become really efficient with mortars, I got one last lesson for you. Earlier, we took a quick glance at the time of flight. And now I'm going to teach you how to get your rounds to your target faster. Rings cause more compression inside the tube, which causes the mortar round to fly not only farther, but higher up into the air, which results in the round itself taking a longer time to actually hit the target. And that's where rings and flight time come into play. So if we take a look at our chart here, we have 4 rings on an HE shell right now, and that's why we have all of these meters over here. But for right now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick 1,000, just so I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So our distance is 1,000 meters. And if we take a look over here at time of flight and line it up with 1,000 meters, you'll see that it is 35.8. So it takes 35.8 seconds to travel to its target. Let's go over here, change the page, and let's get it down to 3 rings. Okay, we're at 3 rings. Check it at 1,000 meters, and for 1,000 meters, now it's 31 seconds. Are you catching on? 2 rings, 1,000 meters is 25.2 seconds of air time. Then we're gonna switch it to 1 ring, go over here, and we don't even have 1,000 meters. But that's exactly my point. The less rings you have on it, the shorter time it'll spend up in the air. And when you're trying to get rounds down range onto a target quickly, this definitely matters. Another thing that really helps me out is when you become a member. Shout out to nobody. Thank you for becoming a member on this channel. If it wasn't for this guy, I probably wouldn't know how to do half the shit I know how to do on the PC. I really do appreciate it. I mean, this is what I want to do right here. So you guys are helping me fulfill that dream. And hopefully this video taught you guys something in return. If you are new to ARMA, I got all new guides. Maybe your buddies are getting mortared out there and you need to be able to heal them quickly and get them back on the field. You can check this video out here for that. And with all that said, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.